Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here. Today, we are going to talk about No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. I lied. The book does not have anything about the synopsis, so we're just gonna wing it. Truthfully, I'm not surprised because this is a Cormac McCarthy book. I feel like he is the definition of like low effort into a lot of things for his books. But then people are like, wow, his books are good. And I'm gonna sit there and say this book is really good. This book is about, you have 3 separate characters through it all. Honestly, I'm really surprised of how good this book is. The 3 main characters is Anton, Tom Bell, Ed Tom Bell, and then you got Moss. And Moss and Anton, or Shigor, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. So, funny story is, this is actually one of my favorite movies. I haven't seen the movie since I was 12. So when it came out, that's when I watched it. And I was so mesmerized by how well this movie was. I was like, dang. And I haven't watched it since, which is so weird. I need to actually watch it. But you have those 3 main characters, and it's essentially 2 different stories that kind of align and overlap each other, which I really like. Moss and Anton are basically fighting one another. Moss stole money that he found, and it's basically just a cat and mouse game throughout this whole book. That's all it is with him and Anton. And Anton is just a psycho man. Like, he is the definition of like no emotions, and he's just chasing Moss and trying to kill him. And then you have Tom Bell as the other character. Story of it is just how he is like an older dude. Like, he is an older man, and he just talks about, and he's just seeing how violent everything has become over the years. Because he started off being sheriff at 25, and now he's just an old man. And that's where I noticed, like, when I watched the movie, I didn't really get it because I was clearly just too young to watch it and didn't understand the meaning. And that's why I decided to pick up the book and read it. For one, I wanted to read Cormac McCarthy anyways, but I also wanted to read this book because I love the movie so much. And I haven't watched the movie in years. And I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, I think we should watch this movie when we get settled into our new place. And with this book, I sat back, I was like, wow, this book is amazing. Like, this book still holds a candle of just how much I love the movie. The best scene, well, there's a couple scenes in this book that I really liked, but the most iconic scene I feel like in the movie is the quarter scene, and that is so good with Anton in it, where he is describing the quarter. And the way that Cormac McCarthy writes each character, you can really tell the difference of each character. And yes, Cormac McCarthy doesn't do a very good job at like POV switching of who is who, and you kind of have to figure it out, but he writes the characters all in different ways that you truly can tell which POV this character is on. And throughout this whole throughout this whole book, Antoine is chasing after Moss. And when they were about to do the final showdown, the book never talks about it. The book never goes into detail of how Moss died. You just know that Moss did die. And throughout this whole book, you're trying to figure out what is going on. Like, is Moss going to live? Is he finally gonna have that happy ending? The problem is, they always hint at he probably won't, because he stole millions of dollars. He's always gonna be on the run. And it's just a really sad thought throughout this whole book. And then you get to Tom Bell's character, and Tom Bell has a really deep conversation with his uncle about just essentially just being old and how violence in the world has gotten so much worse since he was younger, that he reflects on it and he sits back and just realizes that this is truly no country for old men. And I didn't really think about too much that when I watched it, like I said, when I was younger. So it doesn't really help that I watched it when I was younger and I didn't really think about it that much. But as like reading this, the main character out this whole book is Ed Tom Bell. And the reason why I say that is because Cormac McCarthy is writing 2 younger characters, and the way that they are acting and how they are doing all this violence things, trying to kill each other and trying to steal money and just all these terrible things throughout this book. Then you got Ed Tom Bell's not doing any of that stuff. He's just seeing all of it. He's trying to prevent it all. And at the end of the day, it is just a young man's game, because all these young men are getting killed. And I think when you're older and you like live through it all, you get to reflect and realize, wow, this is just a different world. And I think that's the beauty about this book. I guess I never really thought about it, but when I was reading this book, I was just amazed with how awesome this book is. Now, does Cormac McCarthy use the word "and" a lot? Yeah, if I got paid $1 for every time I saw and not like a proper ending for a sentence, I would be rich. This whole book is 309 pages, right? So that would be about, give or take, I don't know, 40,000 words, we'll say. Half of that, he probably uses the word and. I would have $20,000. That is an issue. Like, his writing is the issue that I think a lot of people are like, oh gosh. But when I read his books, I'm like, wow, I can understand why people are like, he is like the greatest American writer ever. Like, I literally hear people say that all the time, and I'm getting on that vibe of why people are saying that. I'm 2 for 2 for his books. Like, I gave this a 5 out of 5 for this book because it's so good. Like, yes, you have a problem when you read his book and you feel like it's a 5-year-old writing it, but at the same time, it's like the meaning and just the purpose of how he writes these books holds so much candle, like, that you just don't really think about the cons. There's people that won't read his books because of it, and I completely understand that. But to me, I'm like, bro, I really like this book. This is a great book. And I can see why it became, for one, a motion picture. I think it won an Oscar, the movie did, and it's a bestseller. Like, I can understand why this is so good. Now, does that mean every book that's a bestseller is always amazing? No, most of them I think are not the greatest. That's a different video. No Country for Old Men is really good. I'm actually excited. I got All the Pretty Horses next, and then in the summer I'm reading Blood Meridian. I'm very excited to get into more Cormac McCarthy. I think the goal is to read, after I read those 4 this year, I might just say screw it and just read way more, all of Cormac McCarthy's books in the future. But oh man, this book holds a lot of meaning. And someone who, like myself, is almost 30 now, I actually can understand both sides of this. Like, being still young, but you're slowly getting to the part where you are getting too old for certain things, that makes sense. I work with 18, 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds that don't really understand these deep aspects of life that you, who is older now, can sit back and see that these kids are like thinking of all these like things that don't truly matter anymore. And that's just a big reflection I kind of noticed with this book, is Ed Tom Bell sees a lot of things and he's willing to just pick his own self over truly trying to solve and finish like this murder case and possibly getting killed. It's just a young man's game at the end of the day, which is so crazy to think about. I really did enjoy this book. Like I said, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think this year starting out for reading has been really well for me. I'm really happy with it. But yeah, No Country for Old Men, 5 out of 5. What did you guys think about No Country for Old Men? Did you guys like it or did you not like it? Is it because Cormac McCarthy's writing style? If it is, let me know down below. What other books have you read from Cormac McCarthy that you think I should check out that's not All the Pretty Horses or Blood Meridian? I'd love to know down below. What other books do you think I should just check out that might be kind of like Cormac McCarthy's style? Let me know down below also. I would love to know. Last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.